They had been preparing for this expedition for months. They were a team of 6 marine biologists, led by Dr. Elena Martinez, a renowned expert in deep-sea life. They had secured funding from a prestigious research institute, and they had access to the most advanced submarine in the world. Their mission was to explore the abyssal zone, the deepest and darkest part of the ocean, where no sunlight ever reached. They hoped to discover new species and learn more about the mysterious ecosystem that thrived in the extreme conditions. They boarded the submarine at a port in Chile and set off for the Pacific Ocean. The submarine was equipped with cameras, sensors, lights, and a robotic arm that could collect samples. It also had a small escape pod that could be used in case of an emergency. The team was excited and nervous as they descended into the depths. They knew they were about to witness something that few humans had ever seen before. The first few days of the expedition went smoothly. They saw amazing sights such as hydrothermal vents that spewed hot water and minerals, creating oases of life in the darkness. They saw strange and beautiful creatures such as bioluminescent fish, giant squid, and anglerfish. They collected samples and data and communicated with their colleagues on the surface via a satellite link. They were amazed by the diversity and richness of life in the abyss. But as they delved deeper, they began to notice something odd. They felt like they were being watched. They saw shadows moving in the darkness, darting away when they shone their lights on them. They heard noises that sounded like clicks, growls, and whispers. They tried to ignore it, but they couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. Dr. Martinez was the first to voice her concerns. She told her team that she had a bad feeling about their mission and that they should abort it and return to the surface. She said that there was something down there that didn't want them there, something that was hostile and dangerous. She said that they were in over their heads and that they should leave before it was too late. The rest of the team dismissed her fears as paranoia. They said that she was letting her imagination run wild and that there was nothing down there but animals and rocks. They said that they had a rare opportunity to explore a new frontier and that they couldn't waste it because of some irrational fear. They said that they had come too far to turn back now. Dr. Martinez tried to argue with them, but they wouldn't listen. They accused her of being cowardly and unprofessional and said that she was jeopardizing their mission. They said that she was jeopardizing their mission. They said that if she wanted to leave, she could take the escape pod and go by herself, but they were not going with her. They said that they were staying until they completed their objectives. Dr. Martinez realized that she had no choice but to go along with them. She hoped that she was wrong about her intuition and that everything would be fine. She hoped that they would finish their mission soon and return to the surface safely. She hoped in vain. The next day, their nightmare began. They were exploring a trench that was over 10 kilometers deep when it happened. Their submarine suddenly lost power and plunged into darkness. All their systems shut down, including their communication with the surface. They were cut off from the world, trapped in a metal coffin at the bottom of the ocean. They panicked. They tried to restart their systems, but nothing worked. They checked their backup batteries, but they were drained too. They checked their oxygen levels, but they were dropping fast. They had less than an hour of air left. That's when they heard the first sound. It was a low, guttural growl coming from outside the submarine. They froze, wondering what kind of animal could make such a sound. They listened intently and heard more sounds getting louder and closer. They heard scraping, scratching, and tapping, like something was trying to pry open the hatch. They heard something breathing heavily, like a beast that had been chasing prey. They realized then that they were not alone down there. They were being hunted. The team huddled together, trying to come up with a plan. They knew they had to conserve their air, but they also knew they couldn't stay silent and hope for the best. They decided to make noise, to try to scare off whatever was outside. They banged on the walls, shouted, and activated their emergency beacons, hoping that someone on the surface would pick up the signal. But their efforts were in vain. The creature outside was relentless. It kept scraping and scratching, getting closer and closer. They could feel the submarine shaking, as if it was about to be torn apart. They could hear the sound of metal bending and breaking. Then, suddenly, it stopped. They waited, holding their breath, wondering if the creature had given up or if it was waiting for them to make a move. They heard nothing but their own breathing and the sound of their heartbeats. They were afraid to turn on their lights, afraid of what they might see, but they had to. They had to know what was happening outside. They flicked on their lights, and what they saw made their blood run cold. There was a face pressed against the window, staring at them with glowing red eyes. It was not a human face, nor was it any creature they had ever seen before. It was covered in scales, with a mouth full of sharp teeth and tentacles writhing around its head. It was an abomination, a monster from the depth. They screamed, and the creature screamed back, a piercing, ear-splitting sound that made their heads throb. It started to hammer on the window with enough force to crack it. They knew that they had only minutes left before it broke through. They had to act fast. They activated the escape pod and scrambled into it, knowing that they had to leave one of their own behind. They drew straws, and it was Dr. Martinez who drew the short one. She knew that there was no time to argue, and that she had to accept her fate. She hugged her colleagues and wished them luck. She climbed into the pod, closed the hatch, and hit the eject button. The pod shot out of the submarine and into the abyss. Dr. Martinez watched in horror as the submarine was attacked by the creature, torn to shreds in a matter of seconds. She watched as her colleagues were devoured, their screams muffled by the water. She knew then that she was the only survivor of the expedition, the only witness to the horrors of the abyss. She knew that she had to tell the world what she had seen, even if no one would believe her. She knew that the creature was still out there, waiting for its next prey. She knew that the abyss was not a place for humans. Want personalized horror stories and exclusive perks from Mr. Creepy Beast's YouTube channel? Join our Patreon community today. Get your name mentioned in our videos. Have your own story voiced and published. Receive a unique story and hand-drawn illustration. And have early access to our latest content. Don't miss out on this spine-chilling opportunity. Subscribe now.